a few hundred feet away. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Messano.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, citizens of Vallejo. I was kind of undetermined on what to speak about here today, but one of the main things I just want to talk about is free speech. It's a recurring topic that Mark Zuckerberg was learning a lot about today. And by the way, anyone who is on Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg is an information pimp who's basically taking everybody's information and using the rest of us to spread propaganda and suppressing free speech, at the same time selling our data. So I think it's really important that a lot of us understand that many of the things that we believe over time, we get from 4 different sources. 1, the newspapers, 2, our social media. Basically, if I say something that people don't understand, they head right for Google, which is propaganda number 1. Like 80% of the algorithms push people into things that are deliberately false and skew the actual truth. And a lot of people look at Google as the be-all and end-all of information. So, secondly, the television. The average American is spending 4 hours a day in front of the television, has no idea about the history of their nation. So controversial ideas that they hear, they have absolutely no idea, no historical concept at all. We have 70 million Americans on psychotropic drugs right now. We have 110 million Americans that have an STD. We have, California is the poorest state in the entire nation. 20% of our population is in poverty. There's one party that is to blame for that. And if that's a mystery to you, you got to pay more attention to politics. The second and final point that I want to address is why it is that 90% of the people in America right now can't name 9 Supreme Court justices. Why is that? Why is it that we have people who are voting that don't know anything at all about, the history of this nation? Is it because the founders were all of one race? Well, the founders actually all said that America was a nation where all men were created equal. And a lot of people would not even be here today if they hadn't had the idea that we were all created equal. And so for all of the wrongs that many of us were propagandized and weaponized to believe that America's this bad place, is pathetic. You're brainwashed. That's the first step of brainwashing people, is demoralization. Make them hate their nation. And yet, most of us in here, after we're done with school, we hate America with a passion. And we think we're wise and esteemed because we hate America with a passion. It is absolutely pathetic. And yet, when you actually talk to people who are not apathetic and ask them their views, my time is coming to an end. And while I can talk for 5 more hours, I will say good night.
Okay, next item on the agenda is going to be public comment regarding consent calendar items. I have, so we're going to have to make some changes here. 7, I've got cards for 7H, we'll make that 7.1. Got cards for 7J, we'll make that 7.2. So we'll go ahead and start with the be kind enough to shut off your phone, please. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take the comments from the audience first. So I'm going to take the comments from the audience first, beginning with 7H. Jimmy Ginn, please be reminded you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Jimmy Ginn, resident Vallejo, 7H downtown garage and mixed use building. It's never too early to design. Thoughts from my work on the General Plan Working Group and visits to Bay Area waterfront downtown locations. Transportation, the definition of transportation is dramatically changing. So in the design of this building that we're specifically considering to replace the old post office, provide room for individual transportation, bicycles, scooters, shuttles, and short-term car services. Always build garages for reuse all over the Bay Area, maybe even the greater world. We are converting garages to apartments or whatever the local market needs. So when we build, think ahead of time to reuse the building. Yes to vertical design. It should contain retail, as it says in the report, parking, hotel, a restaurant and bar. And the twist there is when we go to design the hotel or the vertical space, let's do a design competition and really get a great design there on the waterfront. It'll be one of our spectacular, always seen buildings. With sea level rise and shrinkage, most buildings on the waterfront, again, it's never too early to design, should be vertical. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, questions from council? Mr. Davis, are you here? Yeah, there you are. Okay. No comments, questions? Okay, we'll move to item 7.2, which is 7J. I'll begin with Jean Lykover, followed by Michelle Pellegrin, followed by Carol Cullum, followed by Stephen Hallett, and ending with Brenda Crawford. Please be advised you have 3 minutes. So we'll begin with Ms. Lykover.
Hi, I'm Jean Lykover, 30-year resident of Vallejo. I'm here to recommend that my friend and sister Brenda Crawford be approved to serve on the commission. It's not the commission, but I'm nervous and can't remember whatever it is. It's on 7J. And I would like to remind the City Council that she was one of 25 seniors in the state of California to be recognized by the state of California for her service in working for seniors. So I can't think of a recommendation better than that. And to my knowledge, there's no one else willing to do this. So I hope that you will support the mayor's recommendation that she be appointed to the senior council. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Pellegrin.
Oh, hello. Tired. Guruji. Apse milka kushi hui. I hope I said that right. All of Vallejo. I'm here to congratulate the council for their recommendation, the mayor, specifically the mayor, recommending that Brenda Crawford be appointed to the Senior Coalition of Solano County. So we know that Vallejo is not a wealthy city, but what we do have is a slightly aging population and a lot of talent to go along with that. And so that's, I think, there's so much that can be leveraged here. And when we start using these talents, people who've retired and they have all this experience and knowledge, then it's really fabulous. And I think Brenda's one of those people. She's really quite an extraordinary person. She's in a class by herself. She has an ability to work with people that I have not seen before, really different levels. She's passionate about what she does, and she's very, very intelligent. It's an unusual combination. She's very fair, and she's very honest. These are really, really good qualities, and we couldn't hope for anything more to represent us in Vallejo, especially since, as we move along, we're really going to have to start incorporating more public participation and diversity in order to get this town to be what it should be. You know, it's just not there yet, but this seems like a really good step in the right direction. So I commend you all. I think it's fabulous. You know about her background. She was appointed by Jerry Brown for the Oakland Commission on Aging, served 2 terms. So she's very knowledgeable in this. We're really lucky. And, you know, she's willing to do the work. My God. You know, it's just fabulous. Anyway, again, I commend you for the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Carol Cullum. Ms. Cullum, do you need would you like the hand mic?
No, it's fine.
Okay, you're welcome. Followed by Stephen Hallett, ending with Brenda Crawford.
Hi, my name is Carol Cullum. My wife Kathy and I moved here to retire. We're seniors, and we thought this is a great place for seniors to live and to provide services and to get involved, and that's what we have done. And I want to support the nomination of Brenda Crawford to serve on the Senior Coalition of Solano County. And I'm hoping that this can be an opportunity for everyone, despite your beliefs, despite what your concerns are about Orson or anything else, to look at this as something that needs to be done and who can do it and who can do it well. And I think that Brenda is the person that can do that. And I hope that you all, and I say all, will support her in this. And also, just as another thing, the area something on aging is dissolving. And so we would like to request that the council support the Solano Senior Count of Vallejo to be the organization that takes their place in coordinating senior services. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen Hallett.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Stephen Hallett. I'm here to speak in support of Brenda Crawford's nomination. We would be hard-pressed to find someone in the city of Vallejo more qualified than Brenda Crawford to serve on the Senior Coalition. Brenda Crawford was Congresswoman Barbara Lee's representative to the Alameda County Democratic Party. Brenda Crawford was the first African American appointed to the Gay and Lesbian Victory Fund, which works to elect more openly gay and lesbian politicians throughout the country. As was mentioned, then Oakland Mayor Jerry Brown appointed Brenda to the Oakland Commission on Aging. She's asked to serve on the Senior Coalition, and Mayor Sampayan has nominated her. When Mayor Davis nominated the previous person, that appointment was approved unanimously and without much discussion. I remember Councilmember Verder Aliga used to complain that Mayor Davis wasn't accorded respect in his position as mayor, but failing to give the same respect to Mayor Sampayan that we gave to Mayor Davis in appointing his nomination without controversy would be, quite frankly, disingenuous and hypocritical. Given that Brenda has such stellar qualifications, if she's not appointed, I do think that the public deserves an answer as to why. Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda Crawford. And we'll be ending with Ryan Messano. Mr. Messano will be the last speaker on this item.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council people. You know, there is one thing that there are a couple of areas that I love and that I'm passionate about. One of those areas is mental health, because of the devastating effect that it has had on my own family and families in Vallejo. The other area is senior services. When I turned 40 years old, I had a whole bunch of things to do one Saturday, and I was running around, I was doing all these things, and about halfway through the day, I got really tired, and I couldn't figure out why I was so tired. And then I looked in the mirror and said, my God, you're getting old. That's why you were tired. I was getting old. And from that moment on, I decided that a great part of my career would be dedicated to improving the lives of seniors. And I have done that. I can talk about all the things that I've done in the area. You'd be very hard-pressed to find someone who is more dedicated to seniors. Now, I don't agree with all of you, and I have called some of you on the council out. But that is my job as an activist and as a citizen of this city. Your job is to appoint the best qualified people, regardless of whether we agree on everything. It is not to let your personal bias about me and my activism and what I've said and what I stand for interfere with your judgment to appoint the most qualified person to the Senior Coalition. I think that is me. I know there are other people out there who have similar experience, but I would doubt if anyone has the level of commitment that I have, because it goes very, very deep. My mom is 88 years old, and one of the things, and she's still alive, and one of the things that my mom would tell you that inspires me, that just, energizes me, is when somebody says no to me. That energizes me. That makes me angry, and it also just inflames my passion to a level that is almost beyond comprehension to get things done. And so I want to tell you all that it would be indeed my pleasure to serve on the Senior Coalition. I very much want to. I am a little taken aback by the folks who are opposing it, because I know they're not opposing it based on my skills and my experience and my qualification. They're opposing it based on some other areas that I've worked in, and I will continue to work in those. So I would ask you to have the integrity of a public servant and nominate the best person, which is me. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Messano.
Good evening once more. Martin Luther King once said that we are to judge on character, not on color. If Martin Luther King Jr. was in this room tonight, Martin Luther King Jr. would not approve the appointment of Brenda Crawford. Martin Luther King was a foe of homosexuality, as was most of the founders of America and everyone up until about 1940 or so, 1948, when the Kinsey Report was released. We now have a nest of homosexuals infesting our city right now who have absolutely no business getting involved in our politics. None. So the very fact that we have to put up with this nonsense in our city and that we are infected with a hive of homosexuals who have absolutely no business.
Mr. Messano, I'm going to stop you.
Excuse me, I have free speech rights.
Mr. Messano.
No,
excuse
I am
me.
not going
You're
to
done.
stand down.
You are done.
You are going to stand down.
You are going to stand down,
no,
sir.
I
I'm going to
am
ask our
not going to
police
stand
officer.
down.
Mr.
You
Messano,
stand down.
I'm going to ask you one more time.
I have free speech in America, and you're not taking it from me.
Mr. Messano, Mr. Messano. This council is going to stand in recess until this is resolved. Would you kindly join me in the back?